And Prince Harry's reputation hit rock bottom yesterday after his disastrous 2 days in the High Court came to a close. Here's a selection of his most calamitous moments.
I'm not entirely sure. I'd be speculating. Like most of them, I can't recall. It could have been happening on a daily basis. I simply don't know. I'm quite busy with other litigation, my lord. I'm just speculating. I can't be sure of how much of it I read or which ones I didn't.
Are you aware of any evidence to show this?
No, that's part of the reason I'm here, my lord.
One of his most scathing attacks came in his witness statement after he broke royal protocol by taking aim at the government. Watch.
On a national level, as at the moment, our country is judged globally by the state of our press and our government, both of which I believe are at rock bottom. Democracy fails when your press fails to scrutinise and hold the government accountable, and instead choose to get into bed with them so that they can ensure the status quo.
Now, reacting to that bombshell, top Daily Mail columnist Stephen Glover branded the prince potentially lethal and King Charles's #1 problem, writing, "If Harry carries on his facile assault on our elected government, Charles must banish him to private life." What do you think? Do you agree that Harry should be stripped of all official titles and banished to a private life if he doesn't stop attacking Britain and the government? Email me, dan@gbnews.com. Our poll running now at GB News on Twitter. But doing battle on this now, well, the man himself, star Daily Mail columnist Stephen Glover, the actress and broadcaster Jeni Barnett, and the editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine, Ingrid Seward. Well, Stephen Glover, I have to say, I completely agree with you, because Harry is putting the royal family at risk now, isn't he?
He's putting the royal family at risk, and not for the first time. I mean, you know, if he was Mr. Sussex or Mr. Wales, he can say what he likes. He's free to say what he likes. I happen to think that what he said was largely incoherent and nonsensical and didn't really stand up to scrutiny. But as a private individual, he's free to say what he wants. As a member of the royal family, which he still is, he's not. There's a convention that members of the royal family do not engage in politics in any way. And that's something which goes back at least 200 years. That's the basis of our constitutional monarchy. Politics are separate from the royal family, and that's protected the royal family, and it protects politicians. And he has just driven a coach and horses through that in a way that just hasn't happened before. It's quite remarkable. And unless he agrees to stop, there's only one alternative, and that alternative is to just say, OK, if you want to speak out, if you want to attack the monarchy, if you want to attack politicians, if you want to attack the government, fine, but you can't do it as a member of the royal family.
And he's not going to stop. He's not going to stop Ingrid Seward, is he? So isn't Stephen right?
He has actually done this before. He called the America's First Amendment bonkers. Yeah. Well, that didn't do him any favours in America, but he is a member of the royal family, but he's not a working member of the royal family, and he has essentially banished himself to a private life anyway. So although I think what Stephen wrote is really interesting and absolutely right, that I think that Harry is already in that place that Stephen suggested his father should push him into, which his father never would, because he is not that kind of character. And obviously he doesn't want to completely alienate his son, because a completely alienated Harry is almost more dangerous than a half alienated Harry. So Harry has dabbled in politics before. He shouldn't, of course he shouldn't, but I think that he's far enough removed from the workings of the everyday monarchy for people not to get too upset about this.
Jeni Barnett, you completely disagree with Stephen, don't you? You think this is great that Harry has reclaimed his voice and has taken political stands. Can't he just do it as a private citizen then, Jeni?
I don't think, listen, I think we've moved on. I think Harry, as a Republican, I don't care what he says as a royal, but I do care that free speech is a cornerstone of our democracy. The royal family have always been an embarrassment, from Henry Edward VIII through to Edward VII to even our own king and Queen Camilla when they were involved in the scandal with sanitary products. But Harry is fighting for his life. He's traumatized by the very organs that are now creating another trauma. And I think that he has every right to fight for himself, his wife, for however long that's going to last, his sanity, and for the country. I mean, William Shakespeare would be shouting, "The game's afoot, cry God for Harry, England and St. George." I think we need to leave him alone. If he can prove that the hackers hacked and the Dirty Tricks Brigade have indeed been dirty in their
Well, he can't prove that.
I say good luck to him.
Jenny, firstly, we can't prove that because he's just been in the witness box for 2 days and shown that he doesn't have a modicum of evidence. But Stephen Glover, I just want you to respond to Jenny on that point of free speech, because does she have a point that Harry, now that he has left his role as a working royal, should be allowed to comment simply as a free speech issue?
No, I don't think she does, because he is seen as a member of the royal family. That's how he's seen. He still has a title. He's still, he may not be a working royal, but he's seen as a member of the royal family. That's his status. And his significance in the world, all his significance comes from the fact that he's a member of the royal family. So I'm all in favour of free speech. Of course I am. But we don't say that the king can speak out. If the king doesn't like Rishi Sunak or doesn't like Keir Starmer, he can't speak out and say it. The late Queen always kept her counsel. We didn't really know what she thinks. Now, of course, he's not. Harry is not king, but he's a senior member of the royal family. He's fifth. He's still fifth in line to the throne. So he's not sort of gone away. He's fifth in line to the throne.
Okay, Jeni, come back in.
Look, times have changed. Times have moved on. William is going to be talking about things. The king has talked about climate change. Is that political or isn't that political? We don't know anymore. All I know is that it's another elaborate ruse. The Voices have brought down Philip Schofield are doing the same to Harry Windsor. What are they frightened of? What do they think that criticism of this government can do?
Jeni, I'm just going to have to stop you for a minute. What the heck? What the heck was that about? How on earth are you linking Prince Harry's phone hacking case to the fact that Philip Schofield resigned over an inappropriate relationship with a young runner on This Morning that he didn't tell his bosses about?
Because it becomes an elaborate diversion for a government that doesn't know what it's doing, for a press that's lost its way. And now we're turning to Harry in the way that the headlines should be turning to other things that are going on in our country. It's an elaborate ruse.
Stephen?
I think you should.
Oh, Jeni, Ingrid, yes, Ingrid, you take that on, Ingrid. Come on, you take that on.
Very brave remarks, which I did, and I have to say I'm rather on Stephen's side. But my point is, Harry is a private person. He's in litigation with the government over his security, and I think he shouldn't have said anything, but he did, and I don't think it's a major issue. He's not going to have his titles taken away. He's not going to be thrown to the wolves. He's already with the wolves in my mind, and I don't think that anything further will come of this. People will remember it, but he upset the Americans when he said it before.
OK, final word to you, Stephen Glover.
Well, I'm afraid as long as he's a member of the royal family, he must observe the conventions, and the convention, which goes back at least 200 years, is members of the royal family do not criticise politicians. They do not make they don't criticise the royal family, actually. That's another thing. There's another convention which he breaks. He must either play by the rules or just become Mr. Ordinary, Mr. Wales.
Stephen Glover, Jeni Barnett, Ingrid, Seward. That was a spirited clash. Thank you all so much. But who do you agree with? Should Prince Harry be stripped of all official titles and banished to a private life? Coping rights. I think the majority of the British public would be very happy with this outcome. Yep. Lee says, we've been calling on this for months. Let him stand on his own 2 feet since he despises his nation and his family so much. And from Hazel, this is via the email. I think Prince Harry and his wife should be stripped of their Duke and Duchess titles. I realise realise he is still the son of the king, so keeps his prince title, but his kids should not have titles. And your verdict is now in. 77% of you agree that Prince Harry should be stripped of his titles. 23% of you still want him to have a major role in public life.